town? Okay then.
Thank you, brother. It says on, but I don't want to be tested. On behalf of the Provo Bonneville State, we want to say thank you. And thank you, Brother Showalter, the Marla Beck, and your one-man band pianist. Thank you so much. On behalf of all of us, we want to thank those performers that are going to be blessing us with their talents. We want to thank Brother Gustafson and his family, all those performers that bring this together for us, help us have the joy and the love of this Christmas season. So on behalf of them, thank you very much. You can't get too much Christmas. My family and I have put a bow on the Honda pickup of Provo. If you don't know what that is, it's probably best because the police might not like it, I don't know. But we try to do all kinds of things. We try to feel the spirit and the luminous love that radiates during this time. And so we thank those who offer their time now. And so we're also going to thank Nate Keller, who has for several years now that I've seen doing our Mater D, Master of Ceremonies, and narrator. And so I'm going to turn the microphone over to him, and maybe we can give him a hand and all these performers. Thank you very much.
A college friend of mine named Paul received a new automobile from his brother as a pre-Christmas present. On Christmas Eve, when Paul came out from his office, a street urchin was walking around the shiny new car admiring it. "Is this your car, mister?" he asked. Paul nodded. "My brother gave it to me for Christmas." The boy looked astounded. "You mean your brother gave it to you, and it didn't cost you nothing?" "Boy, I wish..." He hesitated, and Paul knew what he was going to wish. He was going to wish that he had a brother like that. But what the lad said jarred Paul all the way down to his heels. "I wish," the boy went on, "that I could be a brother like that." Paul looked at the boy in astonishment, then impulsively added, "Would you like to ride in my automobile?" "Oh yes, I'd love that." After a short ride, the urchin turned, and with his eyes aglow said, "Mister, would you mind driving in front of my house?" Paul smiled a little. He thought he knew what the lad wanted. He wanted to show his neighbors that he could ride home in a big automobile. But Paul was wrong again. "Will you stop right there by those 2 steps?" the boy asked. He ran up the steps. Then, in a little while, Paul heard him coming back, but he was not coming fast. He was carrying his little polio-crippled brother. He sat him down on the bottom step, and then sort of squeezed up against him, and then pointed to the car. "There she is, buddy, just like I told you, upstairs." His brother gave it to him for Christmas, and it didn't cost him a cent. And someday, I'm going to give you one just like it. Then you can see for yourself all the pretty things in the Christmas windows that I've been trying to tell you all about. Paul got out and lifted the lad from the front seat of his car. The shining-eyed older brother climbed in beside him, and the three of them began a memorable holiday ride. That Christmas Eve, Paul learned what Jesus meant when he said, "It is more blessed to give." I'd like to welcome to the stage our first performer of the evening. Her name is Nancy Hansen, and she has been playing guitar since she was 12 years old, and she's been writing songs and singing for the past 15 years. She's got a wonderful Christmas album out that was produced by Ryan Shute and Craig Miner, and tonight Craig Miner will be performing with her on stage. She's also the host of a radio program on the Mormon Channel, which is called Everything Creative. Please welcome to the stage Nancy Hansen.
Hello, check, check. Hi. We're just going to see if our instruments are plugged in. There we are. Well, this is really fun to be here tonight. Kind of a tradition for our family the last couple of years. Always grateful to be invited back. Always fun to have Craig Miner by my side. And I feel lucky because I get to play, a lot of little shows and play for people and really helps bring the Christmas spirit in. This is one of my favorite songs to play. And just as it talks about Mary and the story of the birth of the Savior. This is the little road to Bethlehem. As I walk down the road at the set of sun, the lambs were coming homeward one by one. I heard sheep bells softly calling them along the little road to Bethlehem. Beside an open door as I drew nigh, I heard sweet Mary sing a lullaby. She sang about the lambs at the close of day, and rocked her tiny boy among the hay. Across the air, a silver sheep bell rang. The lambs are coming home, sweet Mary sang. Your star of gold is shining in the sky. So sleep, my little boy, go lullaby. As I walk down the road at the set of sun, the lambs were coming homeward one by one. I heard the sheep bells softly calling them along the little road to Bethlehem. Thank you. When I decided several years ago to record a Christmas album, it was October, which is a little late to get started on a project like that. But my husband said, Nancy, let me get you a room up at Snowbird, and I'll take the kids. We had little kids at the time. And you just go up there and you light a fire and drink some hot cocoa and just get in the Christmas spirit and try to write a couple songs for the Christmas album. And so I drive up to Snowbird and I go into this beautiful room and I get the guy to come and light a fire for me. And he wasn't a little guy, he was just a regular guy. But anyway, he was the fire starter guy. And I strung some Christmas lights up and I grabbed my favorite writing pad and pencil, and I had my little 4-track recorder there, and I was going to write these songs. And I snuggled up with my guitar, and I fell asleep. I took a big long nap, and I woke up, it was probably the middle of the night, and kind of panicking, thinking Dave was going to say the next day, so where's the songs, you know? And so it was a good thing, because I think I am more creative in the middle of night, so it worked out. But it's funny that the song I wrote was for and about my kids. And, sometimes when you have all these little kids underfoot, you can't wait to have a little reprieve. But yet, they're the ones I thought about when I was away from them. So this is my little song. This is for the kids. You know what happens if you don't go to sleep on Christmas Eve, right? Santa doesn't come, yeah? So I've tried this out, tried singing this to my kids on Christmas Eve for the last however many years, and it hasn't worked, but you're welcome to try it on your own children. Well, it's Christmas Eve, and I believe Santa is coming. So get in your bed, cover your head, quit your ho-humming. What he's bringing, I think he's near. Listen, you'll hear jingle bells ringing. 'Cause right now he's circling the rooftops. He's got his reindeer and sleigh. He's planning just where to make his next stop. He knows right now you're awake. Santa's no fool, he's got a rule I think it's worth keeping. There'll be no toys for good girls and boys till everyone's sleeping. Good old Saint Nick's gotta be quick to finish by morning. It's up to you, you know what to do, you've had a fair warning. 'Cause right now he's circling the rooftops. He's got his reindeer and sleigh. He's planning just where to make his next stop. He knows right now you're awake. So listen to this, give me a kiss, hop in your covers. Try and count the sheep, don't make a peep, you'll wake the others. And soon you will see under the tree all that he brought you. And it will be clear Santa's here, he hasn't forgotten you. 'Cause right now he's circling the rooftops. He's got his reindeer and sleigh. He's planning just where to make his next stop. Well, he sees you when you are sleeping. He knows right now you're awake. Thank you. I'm going to bring up a couple of girls to help me on this next song. Hannah and Marissa, if you guys want to come up. We sang today in sacrament meeting at church, and I asked them if they would mind coming and having a redo. Okay, I just need 2 girls this time, the rest of you next time. I brought a whole bunch of girls, but I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. So Marissa Schiffman is in our ward. This is my daughter Hannah, and we sing this song that Craig Miner and Ryan Shoup arranged for my Christmas album, which is Stars Were Gleaming, which is a favorite primary song of mine. I think I may have been the primary chorister when I was making this album because I was really drawn to this song and wanted to record it. And as many times as I know you children have sung this song, and even adults, there's lots of eeming, gleaming, screaming, like types of words, and so we definitely need our lyrics, don't we? See how it goes.
Stars were gleaming, shepherds streaming, and the night was dark and chill. Angels' story rang with glory. Shepherds heard it on the hill. All that singing, hear it ringing, earthward leading, Christmas bringing. Hearken, we can hear it still. See the clearness and the nearness of the blessed Christmas star, leading, guiding, wise men riding through the desert dark and far. Lovely sowing, shining, growing, onward going, gleaming, glowing, leading still our Christmas silent night. Holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Stars were gleaming, shepherds dreaming, and the night was dark and chill. Angels' story rang with glory. Shepherds heard it on the hill. All that singing, hear it ringing, earthward ringing, Christmas bringing. Hearken, we can hear it still. Hearken, we can hear it still.
Well, thank you. That was fun, twice in one day. So Marissa have a gorgeous voice. Yes. All right, let's see who else joined me over here. Okay, it looks like we have Grace and Kate and Sophie and Emily. So these cute girls are part of a guitar class that I started teaching 6 little girls who are in about, 6th grade, most of you, 4th grade. And they wanted to learn to play guitar, so their moms got together and talked me into coming to their house and teaching a group guitar class. And they're all such cute little girls and really great at guitar. And we're having a lot of fun playing music together, aren't we? So I said, hey, do you want to learn one of my Christmas songs and come sing with me? And they jumped on it. So they all drove down from Salt Lake to be here, and I appreciate it. So thank you. We're going to leave you with this song. Thanks to Craig Meyer for playing with me, as always. This is Once in Royal David City, a favorite of mine. This was originally recorded for a Festival of Trees album. And I went in and I played the guitar part for this song, and when I heard it back after it had been, everything had been added to it, the producer had put on, these beautiful children's voices, and it turned out so beautifully. I try to recreate that. Once in Royal David City stood a lowly cattle shed, where a mother laid her baby in a manger for his bed. Mary was that mother mild, Jesus Christ, her little child. He came down to earth from
happened one day at the year's white end. Two neighbors called on an old-time friend, and they found his shop so meager and mean, made gay with 1,000 boughs of green. And Conrad was sitting with faces shine when he suddenly stopped as he stitched the twine and said, "Old friends, at dawn today, when the cock was crowing the night away, the Lord appeared in a dream to me and said, 'I am coming, your guest to be.' So I've been busy with feet astir, strewing my shop with branches of fir. The table is spread and the kettle is shined, and over the rafters the holly is twined. And now I'll wait for my Lord to appear, and listen closely, so I will hear his step as he nears my humble place. And I open the door and look in his face." So his friends went home and left Conrad alone, for this was the happiest day he had known. For long since his family had passed away, and Conrad had spent a sad Christmas day. But he knew, with the Lord as his Christmas guest, this Christmas would be the dearest and the best. And he listened with only joy in his heart, and with every sound he would rise with a start, and look for the Lord to be standing there in answer to his earnest prayer. So he ran to the window after hearing a sound, but all that he saw on the snow-covered ground was a shabby beggar, whose shoes were torn, and all of his clothes were ragged and worn. So Conrad was touched, and he went to the door and he said, "Your feet must be frozen and sore, and I have some shoes in my shop for you, and a coat that will keep you warmer too." So, with grateful heart, the man went away. But as Conrad noticed the time of day, he wondered what made the dear Lord so late, and how much longer he'd have to wait. When he heard a knock and ran to the door, but it was only a stranger once more. A bent old crone with a shawl of black, a bundle of faggots piled on her back. She asked only for a place to rest, but that was reserved for Conrad's great guest. But her voice seemed to plead, "Don't send me away. Let me rest a while on Christmas Day." So Conrad brewed her a steaming cup and told her to sit at the table and sup. But after she left, he was filled with dismay, for he saw that the hours were passing away, and the Lord had not come as he said he would. And Conrad felt sure he had misunderstood. When out of the stillness he heard a cry, "Please help me and tell me, where am I?" So again he opened his friendly door, and he stood disappointed as twice before. It was only a child who had wandered away and was lost from her family on Christmas Day. Again Conrad's heart was heavy and sad, but he knew he should make this little child glad. So he called her in and wiped her tears and quieted her childish fears. Then he led her back to her home once more. But as he entered his own darkened door, he knew that the Lord was not coming today, for the hours of Christmas had passed away. So he went to his room and knelt down to pray. And he said, "Dear Lord, why did you delay? What kept you from coming to call on me? For I wanted so much your face to see." When soft in the silence a voice he heard, "Lift up your head, for I kept my word. 3 times my shadow crossed your floor. 3 times I came to your lonely door. For I was the beggar with bruised cold feet. I was the woman you gave food to eat. And I was the child on the homeless street." Our next performers this evening are known as Forever Blue, and they told me that they have a combined height of 10.5 feet. Roger has played guitar for 28 years, and he is currently one of the guitar players in Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band. They've been playing together as a duo for about 4 years, and they have a steady gig at the Homestead Resort in Midway, Utah. They are a husband and wife team, and tonight they will be playing a few songs for you, one of which is an original tune called "He Is the Light." Please welcome to the stage Forever Blue.
Just like the one Children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. Whoa, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops listen, children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days, may your days, may your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. May your days, may your days, may your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white, and may all your Christmases be white, and may all your Christmases be white.
Hello? There we go. Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here tonight. We are Forever Blue. And we're going to bring up Craig. He's already here. He's already on top of it.
Thanks, Craig. This is awesome. So the next song we're going to sing, this is an original song, like Nate Keller said. Back in September, Mark asked us if we would play this fireside. I was really excited, but he mentioned that I could possibly write a Christmas song. And I tried before, but I guess motivation is a good thing. So this one's called He's the Light. There was a boy born in this life on a holy night, oh so long ago. There were three men, and yes they were wise. They came to his side bearing gifts of gold, and angels were singing, rejoice, rejoice, a king is born, but he is more. He is the light of the world. He is the hope of every heart. He gives me eyes to see, and I'll lay my burdens at his feet, because I know, oh I know he loves me. A father's love, he gave his son, because he knew that's how it had to be. Hated by men, betrayed by his friends, that boy filled my cup in Gethsemane. And angels were singing, rejoice, rejoice, now it is done. Come home, my son. He is the light of the world. He is the hope of every heart. And he gives me eyes to see, and I'll lay my burdens at his feet, 'cause he is the light There was a boy born in this life on a holy night or so long ago. Just got a bumblebee in my face. That was awesome. Whew, a little nervous. Felt like one of those things, have you ever seen somebody walking in a park and all of a sudden like, that was about me. Sorry about that. We have one more song for you. Roger has arranged this. He's an amazing guitar player. Thanks for letting us come tonight. It's been a good evening so far.
The Savior.
in a manger, and all that goes with it escapes some moderns. Mostly, I think, because they seek complex answers to their questions, and this one is utterly simple. For the cynics and the skeptics and the unconvinced, I submit a modern parable, a story originally prepared for the United Press International by Lewis Cassels. He was not a Scrooge. He was a kind, decent, mostly good man, generous to his family, upright in his dealings with other men. But he did not believe in all that incarnation stuff, which the churches proclaim at Christmas time. It just didn't make sense, and he was too honest to pretend otherwise. He could not swallow the Jesus story about God coming to earth as a man. I am truly sorry to distress you, he told his wife, but I am not going to go with you to church this Christmas Eve. He said he'd feel like a hypocrite, that he would much rather stay home, but that he would wait up for them. He stayed, and they went to the midnight service. Shortly after the family drove away in the car, snow began to fall. He went to the window to watch the flurries getting heavier and heavier, then went back to his fireside chair and began to read his newspaper. Minutes later, he was startled by a thudding sound, then another, then another. At first, he thought someone must be throwing snowballs against his living room window. But when he went to the front door to investigate, he found a flock of birds huddled miserably in the snow. They had began to be caught in the storm, and in a desperate search for shelter, he tried to fly through his large landscape window. Well, he couldn't let the poor creatures lie there and freeze. So he remembered the barn where his children stabled their pony. This would provide a warm shelter if he could direct the birds to it. He quickly put on a coat and galoshes, trampled through the deepening snow to the barn. He opened the doors wide and turned on a light, but the birds did not come in. He figured food would entice them in, so he hurried back to the house, fetched breadcrumbs, sprinkled them on the snow, making a trail of yellow, lighted, wide-open doorway to the stable. But to his dismay, the birds ignored the breadcrumbs and continued to flop around helplessly in the snow. He tried catching them. He tried shooing them into the barn by walking around them, waving his arms. Instead, they scattered in every direction except in the warm, lighted barn. Then he realized that they were afraid of him. To them, he reasoned, I am a strange and terrifying creature. If only I could think of some way to let them know that they can trust me, that I am not trying to hurt them, but to help them. But how? Any move he made tended to frighten them, confuse them. They would just not follow. They would not be led or shooed because they feared him. If only I could be a bird and mingle with them and speak their language and tell them not to be afraid and show them the safe way to the warm barn. But I'd have to be one of them so they could see me and hear me and understand. At that moment, the church bells began to ring. The sound reached his ears above the sound of the wind, and he stood there listening to the bells. Adestus Fidelis. Listening to the bells, feeling the glad tidings of Christmas. And he sank to his knees in the snow. Our next performer for the evening is Jeremy Hoop. You may recognize him as the star of the movie Charlie, which is in its 10-year anniversary this year, and he's also the star of the church movie The Testaments. He's a very talented singer-songwriter, and he has started recently a YouTube channel, which is called Mayday Red, and he's currently building up his online audience base. And so tonight is actually their first live performance, so you're going to hear them performing live for the very first time. He's singing tonight with Rachel Kohler. Let's welcome to the stage Jeremy Hoop and Mayday Red.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Jeremy,
I'm Rachel.
and this is our first time performing live together, so
We're
see how it
excited.
goes. This is probably my favorite Christmas song. I'm not getting the guitar. Is the guitar out? Is it working? The first Noel, the angel that sang was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
They looked up and saw a star shining in the east. Beyond them far into the earth, it gave great love, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Bring the soul with one accord, sing praises to our heavenly Lord, who have made heaven of thine, and with his blood mankind has bought. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 born is the King, forever we'll sing this night. Born is the King of Apologize for the feedback.
Angels in the house. A few years back, before Rachel and I started singing together, it was around a Christmas time, a particular Christmas, I was thinking about what it would have been like the night of Jesus' birth. Not for the wise men or the shepherds or Mary and Joseph in particular, but for the angels who were singing praises. And I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me before, but then it occurred to me that I think I was there. I think we were all there. And so I wrote this song, and when I finished it, it didn't feel complete until I discovered that it went pretty well with a song that's already been sung here twice tonight. Just a portion of that. And then it occurred to me that it was even better when I started singing it with Rachel. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
It's Gloria. Did he tell you that? It's called Gloria.
gazing in reverent awe as the holy Creator lay silently nestled in straw. I think among angels singing praises. I almost see Jesus, I prayed with the eyes of a king. I almost hear heaven join our prayer sing. It's just these days of gloria. Peace on earth and will of every Christmas shepherds and wise men and angels all echoing gloria. It's just these days of Virgin, mother and child, mother and holy child, mother and holy child.
Merry Christmas.
So much. Merry Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.
The year was 1931, and I was 14, the oldest of 11 children in our family in Highland, Utah. One day, my father and mother and a neighbor were in a car accident. Dad, a very strong man, managed to lift the car up enough to release mother and the neighbor. He himself suffered a broken arm and several broken ribs. Because of the accident, Dad was unable to work his 160-acre farm, and the bank foreclosed the mortgage on our home. The depression had hit us with all of its force. Dad was given a short time to move out. The meaning of that foreclosure became more clear to me just a few weeks later, when we had to build a house across the street on a small piece of land Dad had just bought. Because Dad was still recovering from his accident, Mother did much of the work. It was a small one-room shack with no floor, no windows, a bad roof, and wooden walls. We took hot rocks to bed with us in the wintertime to keep us warm. When the snow began to melt on the roofs, it would leak right through the roof into our beds. At night, we would often find ice in the covers, and in the morning, we could not make our beds because the edges of the blanket were frozen together. We knew for the first time in our lives how it felt to go to bed without any supper. We had to save hard pieces of bread for the younger children, and we lived on dry beans cooked without salt. Dad finally got a few days of work on the dry farm, and when the owner found out that Dad didn't bring any lunch because he had no food, he came to our house with a sack of flour and other groceries. I remember that we were so hungry, we tried eating the flour uncooked. Christmas came that year with a lot of snow, but no gifts. My brother Reuben told young Fred to save the candy and nuts they received at the American Fork Firemen's Christmas party, because that's all they were going to get from Santa. Dad was able to make a payment on our home and install a wooden floor and 2 windows, and we knew that that would be our Christmas. But that was a Christmas that we all remembered. Dad joked and tried to play family games with us. Finally, he said, "Well, children, perhaps Santa did forget about us this year, but I bet we're not going to forget this Christmas." He was right, for we learned that Christ's Spirit lived in our hearts. That day, we learned the true value of love and found that one could be happy with its single embrace. But one other wonderful thing happened that Christmas. It happened just after we ate a late dinner, and Dad had to go out to his nightly chores. He looked out at the blizzard, watched the snow hurl through the air, and he was hating to go outside. Suddenly, a knock sounded at the door. We all looked at one another, half believing what we heard. We couldn't imagine anyone was coming to our door this late at night. The knock came again, and quickly, one of us opened the door to find Santa. Santa was actually standing in the storm, holding a large bag across his shoulder. He stepped into the living room, saying, "Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all." He put the bag down in the center of the room and started shaking hands with the boys. Finally, he ended up with us girls. When he shook hands with Reuben, he said, "This is the boy that made my trip possible." I overheard him say to his younger brother at the firemen's Christmas gathering to be sure to save his candy, for that is all that they would get for Christmas. Then he said, "I've been trying to get here since early this afternoon, but the blizzard was too severe." After getting warmed by our old heater, he opened the bag. There were dolls, plenty of candy for everyone, nuts, oranges, food, and toys. I saw tears on the cheeks of my mother and my dad. To know someone had not forgotten us. Mr. Irving Pratt, the elderly American Fork fire chief, had risked his life in the worst blizzard anyone in Highland could remember to come to a little farm shack miles outside of town. After visiting us and taking a rest, Mr. Pratt asked Dad if he would get his team of horses and help him get his car out of a huge snowdrift about 1.5 miles away. Dad, of course, was happy to do it, and I saw them both disappear into the stormy night. After hours of anxious waiting, we received Dad safely home again. We all knelt and thanked our Father in heaven for Mr. Pratt and the love it took him to think of us under such trying circumstances. Our next performer this evening is David Osmond. He is married to Valerie, and she will be singing with him tonight on a couple of the numbers. He's been singing professionally since he was 4 years old, and he is the 4th son of Alan Osmond, who was one of the original Osmond brothers. This year, he debuted his first spiritual album, and I actually heard one of his songs on the radio today as I was coming home from church. It was "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing," very beautiful arrangement. Something you can know about him is that he has multiple sclerosis, MS, and you wouldn't know it because he's so happy and positive and energetic all the time. But he recently received an award from the National MS Society, which is basically the ambassador of the year. And I read that it's only been given out 6 times in the last 65 years, so it's quite an honor. He's an ambassador for finding a cure for MS, and very inspirational and an amazing performer. Let's welcome to the stage David Osmond.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nate. Thanks for having me. God bless you. What's up? Feeling good, right? It's nice and warm in here. It's getting cold, finally. Love that. That's a great story. I love hearing that. In fact, Christmas is about connecting, isn't it? We come together, just like this, and we share. And a lot of the times we share our stories of each other. And speaking of which, do you guys know each other? We've been here for a while, like 45 minutes. Do you guys know each other yet? No? Well, turn to your neighbor, turn to the person to your right and to your left, say, what's up? How you doing? It's about time, come on. There you go, yeah. And turn to the person behind you, say, hey, what's up? How you feeling? See, isn't that nice? Yeah, it's connecting. Now that you know your neighbor, I'd like you to turn to them and borrow $5. And only if you want. No, it is great to be here. It is fantastic, and I'm thrilled to be able to perform with these wonderful, wonderful artists. Have you guys enjoyed yourselves so far? Absolutely. I wanted to start off by singing a song, just like Nate was sharing his story. I want to share a couple stories through song. And as we celebrate the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ, what an amazing story that is. There's something I want to share with you that I used to think when I was a little kid. And it seems kind of stupid when I think about it now, but maybe you do too. But when someone would come up to me and say something, very in particular, it always rubbed me the wrong way. And it was this. They'd come up and say, oh, I know exactly how you feel. And that just bothered me, because it didn't make sense to me. My analytical mind is just going wild. I'm like, it's impossible. There's no conceivable way how you know exactly how I feel. You haven't gone through the exact same things as I have. You're not me. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. Because there is someone, despite the pain we all go through, and we all have our own stories, there is someone, miraculously, who knows exactly how I feel and how you feel. Go ahead and play that. One, 2, 3, 4. He pushes L on that old elevator door. Her arms are broken, arms are bare. The doors are closing and she's staring at the floor. There's still a piece of her up there. It seemed like yesterday she saw him on the screen, painted a room and picked out names. But now she has to leave him under big machines to keep alive his tiny frame. She's on the way to her car. It's never felt this far. With each step she takes, there's another to follow, and one more ache, one more tear to swallow. She's gotta keep moving, forget about the bruising inside, through the loneliest walk of her life. He pushes up his glasses, staring at her name, just one last time before he leaves. He saw this coming, but to see it now engraved, still so hard to believe. 'Cause it seemed like yesterday they kissed and made their vows, her favorite flowers in her hair. He's staying later than they normally allow, clutching those flowers in a prayer. And on the way to their front door, no hand to hold there anymore. 'Cause with each step he takes, there's another to follow, and one more ache, one more tear to swallow. He's gotta keep moving, forget about the bruising inside, through the loneliest walk of his life.
pushes up the board they've tied onto his shoulders. He bears with dignity disgrace. He hears the jeering and the wind is getting colder. Tastes the blood upon his face. His body bruised and back still open from the scourges. The consequence of wickedness. He knows no man on earth has ever deserved this, but still he bears it all for them. And he keeps building up the hill to do his Father's will. With each step he takes, there's another to follow, and one more ache, one more tear to swallow. We all stand by and watch as the price is paid through the loneliest walk of his life, so we don't feel alone in the night. We can have his hand holding the light through the loneliest walks of our lives. Keep pushing through this lonely walk you're going through, 'cause someone's walked this way before.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to bring up someone who isn't just my better half. She's my better 99% and plus. I'd like to introduce you to my wife. This is Valerie Osmond. Give her an applause. Yeah. We met in the last place on earth that I ever thought I was going to meet my soulmate, my best friend, the love of my life. Las Vegas, Nevada. Who'd have thunk? We were at the Hard Rock Hotel, and I see this beautiful girl, and I go up to her, and I'm like, "Hi, what's up?" I don't know. And she looks at me with this like familiar look, like she knows me or something. She goes, "Are you in my ward?" I went, "What? You're Mormon?" She's like, "Yeah." Like walks away. I'm like, "Hold on, who are you?" And somehow convinced her to, after stalking her that night, I guess, to get her number. And after our first date, the rest is history, as they say. But she is an amazing person. I'm glad that she could be here tonight to sing a couple songs with us. This song is a beautiful song. That is a tradition of ours to do every Christmas season. Would you like to set it up? I'm talking a lot. This is usually happens.
It's basically from the perspective of Joseph and Mary, and it's an original piece. You don't hear too much, so that's kind of fun. And I think it's really cool that they kind of put you in their shoes, what they might have been experiencing that night, and to sing to the Christ child. It's just a really beautiful song.
Absolutely. We hope you enjoy it.
Hush now, my dear, make not a sound. Ooh, lay and close your eyes. Nothing's to fear as heaven looks down. Ooh, lay on lullaby.
Good, because we were going to do it anyway. Awesome. You know, I don't feel bad announcing this because I already gave her the gift, but I got my wife the coolest gift this year for Christmas.
This better not be the mood ring joke.
It is. It's not a joke. I got her this mood ring. It's fantastic, right? It's cool. It's really cool because when she's in a good mood, it turns blue, and when she's in a bad mood, I get this big red dot right on my forehead. Thank you. The rest of you will get this in the car on the way home tonight. I'd like to introduce and bring back up the house musician for this evening for everybody. Craig Miner, give it up for Craig. This guy's amazing. This is an original song that we wrote. It hasn't ever been released, but we hope to do so this next year. It talks about I don't know, we're so fortunate. We are so blessed. We live in the greatest nation on earth. We have freedoms, we have family, we have the gospel of Jesus Christ, we have an abundant life, and so many people don't. And it's hard to see that, especially during this holiday season. And not just for kids of all ages, but especially for the young kids. And that's what this song represents. For those that don't have a Christmas. This is a song to reflect on all of our blessings and what we can do as individuals and collectively to give back to those that are less fortunate.
It's just like a prayer from a child somewhere, a little voice longing for peace, a season of giving, a time for receiving, leading us all to believe it will make us all as one. The lights on the house, white as the snow. Time with you, every heart beating so much, and it's love every child and worries and bring a few faces a smile. It will make us all as one. For the lights on the houses, white as the snow, always something this time of year. Every heart's beating so much, and it's blood every child needs a Christmas. Every child needs a Christmas. Every heart needs a time when it's all about love. Every child needs a Christmas. It's just like a prayer from a child somewhere, a inner voice longing for peace. It will make us all as one. White as the snow, always something this time of year. Every heart's beating so much, and it's love. Every child needs a Christmas. Every child needs a Christmas. Every heart needs a time when it's all about love. Every child needs a Christmas. 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 Great night, ladies and gentlemen. Valerie Osmond.
That's amazing. Holy cow. I wanted to do one more for you, if that's okay. And if you haven't noticed, there is a running theme to tonight's show. And so I figured, hey, since all the cool kids are doing it, I guess I got to do it. And it's kind of like wearing the same dress to the prom as 6 other girls. But if you don't mind, I'd love to sing one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time. And I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to set this up because about 2 weeks ago, I was in Dallas, and I got the privilege of being invited by a great guy, a friend of mine. His name is Glenn Beck, and he has a Christmas special coming out. And he asked me if I would come and be a part of this live nativity and to sing a song. And as I'm a part of this nativity, it was amazing. The spirit there was phenomenal. Because in your mind's eye, you try to visualize what that must have been like to be there in that stable. You know, I can go there up here, but it's really different when you can actually see it. Kind of see it, you know, and you can touch it, you can feel it, and with the donkeys and the camels and everything else that was there, you can smell it, you know. But it was amazing because we're celebrating this season a true story, something that really did happen, and it is miraculous. And that spirit of Christmas, it just permeates everyone, and it certainly did in that moment as I was visualizing, literally, the events that took place that night. And you know, our prophet, President Monson, put it so eloquently when he said, you know, one just needs to drop the last syllable of the spirit of Christmas, and it becomes the spirit of Christ. So true. And so for the 6th time tonight, I would like to sing this song. I hope you enjoy it.
Silent night, holy night, all is right round on Virgin Mother and Child, Holy Infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake, left aside, glory streams from heaven above, heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, blessed light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the tide of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, the Bible. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Jesus, Lord, at
Thank you very much, you guys. God bless you and Merry Christmas.
My father was a clerk in the accounting office of a large corporation. His work was routine. His pay was meager. My attitude toward him from the beginning of my consciousness was one of impatient tolerance. He was always a wisp of a man, usually dressed in a shiny dark blue serge suit, genteelly frayed at the cuffs and elbows. Well, I must say it, he was insignificant. In a sense, he was inadequate. One evening, that fall, when I was 11 years old, while we were sitting at supper, my father asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I suppose the holiday season was on his mind, and Christmas was always a financial strain on us. Most of my friends had bicycles. When I went riding with them, I had to suffer the embarrassment of riding on the crossbar of a friend's bicycle, or else take turns riding. I was always the poor relation, the charity guest. I said promptly, "I want a bicycle." My father rubbed his spoon across the tiny roses in the chipped oilcloth that covered the kitchen table. I knew then that I should have said, "Oh, nothing much," or else mentioned some small thing that he could afford. I don't know, Buck," my father said in his doubtful voice. "They cost a lot of money, don't they?" "They're awfully expensive," my mother assured him. I stared straight at them. "You asked me what I wanted," I said coldly, "and I told you." My father didn't look up. My mother didn't look at me either. The food tasted terrible. I finished fast and left. We didn't mention Christmas presents again. I had some money, less than $1, and as the time grew near, I finally bought my mother a scarf. It just happened that at this time the department store was having a sale on monogrammed handkerchiefs, so I burrowed around the corner of the counter until I found one with the letter M. On Christmas Eve, my mother and I waited outside the closed parlor while my father lighted the candles and put Silent Night on the phonograph and then swung open the door. His face looked unusually flushed and his eyes were extra bright. He said, "Merry Christmas, Mother, Buck, come in." He gave my mother a little package, and she gave him a little package. They both said, "Oh, I told you I didn't want," and then they began to laugh. My father seldom laughed very hard. It sounded good to hear him. Then my father gave me a small box. I opened it, and inside there was a pen and pencil set. I wanted a bicycle. "Thank you," I said as warmly as I could. "Thanks, Mom." My father held up his hand. "Oh, Buck," he said, "wait. That's not all. No siree, that's not all by any means." I had never before seen him like this. He seemed so alive and excited. He went into the bedroom and returned, dragging an enormous slab-sided package. He stepped back to watch me. I tore off the wrappings greedily. Then I almost pushed the thing to the floor. It was a bicycle, all right, but it was a second-hand, hastily repainted bicycle that could never stand comparison with those the other boys had. Once again, I thought my father had made me look like a charity case. I was so bitter, so angry, that I was about to shove it back into his hands and run from the room. But I happened to look up. My father stood there watching me closely, his lips parted, and moving nervously beside him stood my mother. I looked away. I had seen that though my father had suspected nothing, she knew. Her eyes were wide with terror and with prayer, and her face was pale. I drew a deep breath. "Oh, Dad," I said, "this is wonderful. It's just what I wanted." And I held it close against me. These simple words transformed my father. It sounds odd to say it of a man, but his eyes actually shone like stars and his face broke into a beautiful smile. "I told you, Mother," he boomed. "It's just what he wanted." "Yes, darling," said my mother. "Oh, yes, yes, yes." She put her arms around him and they both looked at me. Eager to do something, I set the bicycle on its stand and took their presents from my pockets. "Here," I said. My mother thanked me sweetly while she opened her present, but my father stared at his handkerchief. "Look, it has my initials embroidered on it. M for Martin." And his voice broke on Martin. I could have stood anything but that voice breaking. I ducked down beside the tree and pretended to admire the nativity figurines beneath while I blinked the tears out of my eyes. My father was almost beside himself with joy. "You know what I'm going to do, Mother?" he said. "I'm going to get us a treat. Well, let's celebrate. It's Christmas." And he ran into the bedroom, grabbed his top coat, and hurled himself hatless through the front door. When he had gone, my mother said, "Thank heaven he didn't know you were disappointed. I don't know what he would have done. I was so afraid when I saw you." "I thought he couldn't afford it," I said finally. "He couldn't," said my mother. "He couldn't, Buck. To get the money for you, your father went without his lunch for 8 weeks. That was the money that bought your bicycle, dear Buck." Suddenly I felt frightened. My father's lunch cost him 30 cents. That was when you could get a plate lunch for that price. For 6 days a week, for 8 weeks, my father had gone hungry at noon for me. He had fought through his dreary afternoon work each day while the sickness of hunger twisted his insides. He had taken 30 pitiful pennies each day and laid them aside till he could buy this bicycle I had almost flung back at him. Is it any wonder I was frightened? When my father returned, he was a man I had never known before. His voice was firm, mature, rounded. His stride was big. He had not been drinking, but he was intoxicated. And why? I think you will know what I mean when I say that I wanted to take my father in his arms and hug him as if he were the child and I were the man. That was a lovely, blessed night for the three of us. We sang, my father leading in a new voice, Christmas carols, love songs, and surprisingly humorous songs that he had brought up from his memory, endowed with family references that made them all the more deliciously funny to us. Our final performers for the evening are Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band. They have been playing together for the past 16 years, and they have recorded 7 albums. And Craig Miner told me today that they are huge in Ghana, Africa. And that's actually true. He said that they are a radio sensation of some sort down there. They travel the world playing mostly original songs, and they come here to entertain us almost every year. We want to welcome to the stage now Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all
Can you hear Roger over there on the guitar? Well, Roger is awesome.
Yes.
He's one of the best flat pick guitar players I've ever seen, had a chance to play with, and he loves his mother's Christmas lasagna.
Yes.
And he sings the high harmonies you're going to hear on this song. This is a song it's a new song for us, so we're going to try it out. And you can actually go home and download this for free off of our Facebook page. So it's a little Christmas present we're going to give to you.
They could not find room at the inn, so in a manger they laid him. It was quiet in Jerusalem the night that Christ was born. A new star in the sky appeared. The wise men prayed, the wicked feared, but Mary held her baby near the night that Christ was born. Angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation ringing, the night that Christ was born. While shepherds in their fields they lay, an angel in the nighttime came and told them where they'd find the babe, the night that Christ was born. Then a heavenly host around them sing praises to the newborn King. Then they went to see that wondrous thing, the night that Christ was born. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation bringing, the night that Christ was born. Hallelujah, angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation ringing. Oh, angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation ringing. Oh, angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation ringing. Like that Christ was born, and angels singing, good tidings bringing, salvation bringing. Like that Christ was born, bringing the night that Christ was born.
Alright, so Roger on the guitar, Craig on the now bouzouki, and this is Nate Smeating on this thing called the cajon, which I think means the box. We're glad Nate's here. Thanks for coming, buddy. We're gonna do a another song that was an original song. This is another original song. I think that this song, well, I guess this is the song actually we're going to end with. And then Nate, not Nate, the cajon player, Nate, the MC, is going to tell you another story. This is, I think, captures the true meaning of Christmas. It's a song called The Gift.
You guys know what Rudolph wants for Christmas, right? A pony sleigh station. Thanks.
Sorry, I gotta make sure the violin's in tune. It's hard to sing and play at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Many miles away to see what the prophecy foretold. Miraculous surprise, and the tears came to their eyes and they said, He's got the gift. Shepherds from afar, they follow through the star, and the king shook his head with disbelief. You'll sing that salvation reigns. Peace out the gifts. Oh, come on, even more. Joyful and triumphant. Oh, here
Well, Christmas time is a time for thinking of others and helping them to feel important and loved. The last couple of years I've read to you a children's book. And 2 years ago I read one called The Big Orange Splot. Last year I read one called You Are Special. And tonight I'd like to read one for you called Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon. Molly Lou Mellon stood just taller than her dog and was the shortest girl in the first grade. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, walk as proudly as you can, and the world will look up to you. And so she did. Molly Lou Mellon had buck teeth that stuck out so far she could stack pennies on them. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, smile big, and the world will smile right alongside you. And so she did. Molly Lou Mellon had a voice that sounded like a bullfrog being squeezed by a boa constrictor. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, sing out clear and strong, and the world will cry tears of joy. So she did. Molly Lou Mellon was often fumble-fingered. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you too. And so she did. Then, Molly Lou Mellon moved to a new town. She had to say goodbye to her grandma and to all of her friends. She started in a new school. On the first day of school, Ronald Durkin called her Shrimpo in gym class. When the game started, Molly Lou Mellon caught the football, ran under the legs of Ronald Durkin, and scored a touchdown. All the children thought, wow, she's good. And Ronald Durkin felt very foolish. On the second day of school, Ronald Durkin called her Bucky-Toothed Beaver. Molly Lou Mellon took out her pennies, stacked 10 high on her teeth, and smiled as big as day. All the children smiled with glee, and Ronald Durkin felt very foolish. On the third day of school, Ronald Durkin said, you sound like a sick duck, honk, honk. Molly Lou Mellon sang out, quack, so clear and so strong that it made Ronald Durkin somersault backwards, hit his head, and have to go to the nurse. All the children cried with joy to be free of Ronald Durkin for the rest of the afternoon. And Ronald Durkin felt very foolish. On the fourth day of school, Ronald Durkin said that she'd made her snowflake all wrong. But Molly Lou Mellon opened up her paper and revealed the most beautiful snowflake of all. All the children oohed and awed, even Ronald. On the fifth day of school, Ronald Durkin brought Molly Mellon a stacking penny for her tooth, and he smiled at her. That night, Molly Lou Mellon took out a pencil and a paper and wrote a letter to her grandma. Dear Grandma, I wanted to tell you that everything you told me was exactly right. Love, Molly Lou Mellon. I don't know if you can see how small the grandma is. Okay, well, thank you for coming this evening. We hope you've enjoyed the performance. Can we get another round of applause for all of our performers? We'd like to invite everyone who's performed tonight back up on stage for one last song. And we would like you to join in with us. We're going to be singing The First Noel.
Okay, we came up with a little bit of a plan about 5 seconds ago. We're going to share the first two verses, and then we'll come back and everybody to sing with us the first verse again.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to serve